Hello everyone and welcome back to another how-to video from Freedom Marine. Like always, we're joined by Alex today again from Revolution Yacht Experience. Today we're going to learn how to set up your fuel gauge to read between the sending unit and the calculated fuel burn rate. So join us, it'll be another very simple video to follow along with as Alex leads us.
Okay, welcome aboard for another how-to video. We are aboard a 28 Axopar and we have in front of us a Simrad Go 12 screen. However, this is true for all of the current year model Simrad products. The engines are Mercury. This actually has a 400 horsepower Verado engine on it. So any Mercury on a Simrad screen, this process should work. So as we've already discussed, today we're going to look at how to change your fuel gauge reading from your fuel tank sending unit, which is essentially a float inside of the tank that's giving an electrical signal to the computer, which is then interpreted as the fuel reading. That's one way of getting a fuel gauge readout. The other way is asking the fuel gauge to use the calculated fuel burn rate. The computer figures this out over time as you drive. It knows how much fuel it's putting into the engine. As long as it knows how much fuel it started with in the tank, then it can actually very accurately determine how much fuel it thinks is left in the tank. It's actually a very accurate method. So right now we are reading from the fuel tank sending unit, which is typically how they're set up. So what we're going to have to do to change our settings is head to the main menu and then again to the settings page. Once we're in the settings page, you'll need to scroll to the fuel setting and you'll see you have these three options. Our vessel setup is where we want to go, and you'll see that it's got fuel tank level sensor 1 available sensor. That's telling us that there is indeed a fuel tank sending unit installed that we can use to read from, and that is what we're reading right now. However, we can hit the fuel consumed by engines and we can use that metric instead. So if we hit save and then we head back, you'll see it's actually got no fuel because it doesn't know how much fuel that we have. So we can go ahead and add some fuel into the tank. Now I've actually gone ahead and forgotten exactly how much fuel we started with. So I'll switch it back again and just see what the sending unit says for fuel. So let's do that right now. Probably a pretty good exercise. Fuel, vessel setup. So we'll switch it back to fuel tank level sender. You see, all you need to do is just choose from one of these two options. Okay, save. Then now that I head back to here, it'll tell me that I have 125 liters of fuel. Okay, great. I'm going to remember that and I'm going to add that virtually to the tank. And you'll need to do this every time you fuel. You'll need to actually manually tell the system how much fuel you're adding so we can accurately gauge how much fuel it thinks is left in the tank. Okay, so vessel setup. Switch it to fuel consumed by engines. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll hit refuel. And I'm going, if you know you filled it all the way to the top and you have the tank limit set, you can just hit set to full. However, it's not full. We decided it was 125 liters, I believe. And then hit OK. And then we head back here. And there it is there. Okay, so now we are reading virtual fuel readings, and as we drive, this level will go down based on how much the engine thinks it's using as it's burning the fuel. So I hope this short little instructional was helpful. You can switch between the two anytime, and just be sure to add the fuel virtually each time you fill up. Perhaps we should do that one more time. So we've just got to the fuel dock right now and we have filled our fuel. Generally you need to have your batteries off, so you probably are not allowed to have your screens on as you're filling fuel for safety reasons. But when you get back in, go to your fuel setting, over to settings page again, head to fuel, refuel, and if you know that you put in a certain amount of fuel, I'll just say that I added 1 liter today, so I don't change it too much. But you know, if you put in 100 liters, put in 100 liters. If you set it to full, hit set to full, and then you hit OK, and then the change will take place on your fuel tank in just a moment. You'll see it just jumped up to 126 from 125. Okay, So I hope that was helpful, and we'll see you on the next video.